Hi, I'm Ken Nelson from Listen, Love, Pray Foundation, and I'm going to be talking to you today about soaking prayer. Soaking prayer is something I didn't know anything about before 2011. Up until that time, in my prayer time, if it went 5 minutes, that was a long time for me, because I would come to God with these list of things that I felt like He needed me to tell Him and how to fix those things. And so when I would get through my list, then I was about done with my prayer time. That was my prayer time. But in June of 2011, we went up to a conference in Vermont put on by Christian Healing Ministries. And in that conference, we had a time of soaking prayer, where we were encouraged to come into a place where we could just receive from the Lord. We were encouraged to have our palms facing upwards and not have our legs crossed, and not to have a list or an agenda, but just to be open to what the Lord had for us that time. And so my first experience with soaking prayer was there, and I was in this relatively large room with a smattering of people around, and some quiet music was playing in the background, and it was peaceful. And then I closed my eyes and I allowed myself to just be open to whatever the Lord had for me. And so I had an experience with God that was really powerful. He took me back to times in my life where I hadn't really done the right thing, where I had decided to do my own thing and to ignore what He wanted. And I turned my back on His goodness and His love and His peace and His kindness, and I went my own way. And as these memories would come up, I would repent, and I would tell Jesus that I was so sorry that I had done what I had done, and I asked for His forgiveness. And I also remembered things that people had done to me that were either mean or hurt me or were a problem for me, things that I was hanging on to. And I released them to Jesus, and I forgave those people, and it was a good time. And so I came out of that first soaking prayer time transformed. My prayer life was transformed, and my relationship with God was transformed, because it was so life-changing. And it was about a year after that we went down to Christian Healing Ministries to intensive prayer ministry. And in that intensive prayer ministry, I was healed of lots of things, and my life was transformed in lots of ways. But we also had this time of soaking prayer, and there's one thing that really sticks in my mind that I want to share with you. It was a time when I was a teenager that came back into my mind. And when I was a teenager, I had this javelin, and a friend of mine and I were practicing the javelin, and we were throwing it, and we'd go pick it up, throw it, go pick it up, and my friend decided that this was not very efficient way to practice, that we should stand apart, like 150 feet apart, and just throw it back and forth to each other, pick it up, throw it. And that worked for a while, and then my friend decided that it would be really cool if he could just catch the javelin in the air. And so I threw the javelin, and went over his head. He jumped up, caught the end of the javelin, and the momentum of the javelin carried him back, and the point of the javelin stuck in the ground, and the back end of the javelin, which is also pointy, went right through his thigh, and went through his thigh a pretty good distance. And he was impaled by this javelin. And so the Lord brought me back to this memory, and I remembered my friend's brother driving down the road just when this happened, and I flagged him down, and he had just gotten his driver's license, didn't even know where the hospital was or how to get there. And so, I was really traumatized by this event. When my friend pulled the javelin out, there was this gaping hole in his thigh, and we got him into the back seat of the car, and then we started driving to the hospital, and I'm trying to tell my friend's brother how to get there, and I heard this roaring in my ears, and like my vision collapsed down, so I could only see through this tunnel, and everything else was black, and all I could see was this tunnel, which was really hard. But this memory of the time was a little bit different, because I also felt God's presence there. I felt like Jesus was there with me. And I even had this vision of Jesus sitting in the back seat next to my friend, and that vision knowing that Jesus was in this removed some of the trauma out of that event. So, I've done soaking prayer hundreds of times since then, and every time is wonderful. I don't know what's going to happen, but the Lord always has something for me, and it's peaceful, or I get a word, or I get a vision, or I get something that the Lord has for me that particular time. And so I encourage you, as you have opportunities, to try soaking prayer, that you do that. Play some nice quiet music. Julie True is great music to play when we do soaking. So I encourage listening to her music, or any other music that is quiet and peaceful and ushers in God's presence. And as we come into his presence, he has things for us. I know he has things for me. He has things for you. And he wants us to grow and to develop as our relationship with him strengthens. He wants to transform us. He wants to make our prayer life strong and powerful. And he wants us to feel that connectedness with him that changes everything.
And just in case people are wondering what happened to your friend, Ken, when he got the javelin stuck in him.
Oh, so my friend who had the javelin through his leg, his name's Danny. Danny had to be in the hospital for a while, and they had to clear things up. He was fortunate in a sense, because the javelin went between two muscles, and also the place between these two muscles has this big artery that runs up your leg. So the javelin went between the two muscles and missed the artery. So it was God's grace that just prevented a terrible tragedy from happening right there. And so my friend, he did have a little bit of a limp after that, because it did cause some damage, but he did fine. It didn't stop him in life.
And how are you now in the sight of blood?
Well, I haven't had a big traumatic event with blood, and so I'm hoping that whenever that happens, if that happens, that I'll be past that point of trauma and feeling like I'm going to black out.